Hi, we're Jackie and Bobby with Ascension Presents. Today we're going to talk about how living a life of chastity, of saying yes to the goodness of the body, did that affect our wedding night?
I had a woman, let's say a woman asked me, she was like, oh, Jackie, so you're a virgin, before marriage. She's like, was Bobby a virgin? I was like, no, but that's not something he was proud of. And she's like, well, at least someone knows what they're doing. And I was like, oh, girl, you should be glad I have the self-control not to punch you in the face right now. Oh my gosh, I was like, because sex, it's not just about mechanics. People have been doing this for thousands of years. Just because you're a virgin on your wedding night doesn't mean you're not going to figure out how this goes. It's ridiculous.
Short answer is no. So, next video. No, but when love is not the bedrock, when it's not about me caring about who this person is and their story and what they've come to the relationship with and a faithful love, it's all about mechanics.
Right.
Our friend in ministry says that, when love is not the foundation, it's all about the mechanics. And that's why you'll see in every magazine in the supermarket, 101 tips to blow his mind you never knew existed before, that just we discovered this month, and we'll discover more next month.
When it's not about love, it's we know it's just about use, and there's a difference there. And so when people, I've had people say to me, like when you're being a virgin on your wedding night, like, oh my gosh, you guys didn't live together, you didn't have sex. It's like, how does that affect it? It's like, well, actually, I'm marrying the man who's vowing to love me till death do us part. I mean, I can't imagine, anything else.
That's freeing. And when you're engaging in that sexual act outside of marriage, there's this
tension a little bit.
There's this very intimate thing that I may not even know the person's middle name. I may not know if they're going to be around in the morning. That's not how it's meant to be in that regard. There's a protection with the vows that also comes with knowing the person, knowing maybe they have been wounded, maybe they've been violated, maybe, again, what the magazine says is not the human person in front of me. There needs to be patience and tenderness and showing the person I care. That's what love is, not just technique.
And actually, the language of the body in sex are the promises that we make on the altar. Say, like, I promise to love you freely, totally, faithfully, fruitfully, and that's the language of sex. So every time a couple has sex, they're renewing their wedding vows. And if you never made those vows, Pope John Paul says, if you never made those vows, and when you have sex outside of marriage, you're lying with your body because your body is making a promise that you never did. So in marriage, there's such a freedom, because I'm not afraid of getting pregnant outside, because it's so freeing when you've made vows with this person. You made these promises, and that's what the language of sex is saying. But this person is completely loving you, and it's not just for me, it's not some boyfriend in high school who I don't know if he's going to leave me the next day. Or, I've had so many young girls come up to me telling me about their first experience of sex and how they're like, I just wanted someone to hold me, and he didn't even hold me afterwards. And they're like, man, it was all about him. In marriage, you have this opportunity. It's like you continue to grow with each other and learn how to love each other and how to please each other, because you communicate with each other. But yes, some people are brought up with this idea that sex is bad, and you have this sense of shame. So if there is that sense that sex is bad when you get married, yes, it might be awkward if it's your first time having sex, because that part, it needs to be healed, because sex is not shameful within the bounds of marriage. In fact, Pope John Paul in Love and Responsibility, he talked about how shame is swallowed up by love when you truly love. I also do want to say that some people who have been sexually abused, I know girls who have been sexually abused, and it is very difficult when they get married to really experience the healing because of what happened to them, or even young men too. But again, this is where consulting a magazine about how to blow their mind is not going to help. It's like the person in front of you is the person that needs to be loved, and the person needs to be tender with and just very patient with. So
I'd say we've all grown up in a very pornified culture, so we sometimes bring that to the table of what I expect or what I somehow think this is gonna go, and it's like, no, this is a human person, again, with needs and emotions, and we need to ask for healing there. And two, again, if you're in a spot where one of you has waited for marriage, one of you hasn't, ask for healing, ask for the healing of memories, the healing of your body, because again, we're psychosomatic spiritual beings. So it's not just I had a hookup and it doesn't mean it doesn't come along with me. It's like when we give ourselves away to this person and that person and that person,
You're becoming one body, one soul, one flesh.
So again, God can heal all things.
Right.
So don't fall into despair there. But just again, shame is swallowed up by love, and so love comes charging out and wants the good of the other person, and it's not concerned about the techniques of Cosmo. It's just about, and that's freeing, and that will lead to, a wedding night as it's supposed to be.
And we both went to confession the night before our wedding. You went the day of, right? And I went the day before. And we both said, again, like, Father, like, forgive me for everything that I've done with any other person that was not my spouse, because only my spouse deserves all of me. This is the only person I'm vowing to give all of me. And again, how beautiful that all those other things, again, God has wiped away our sins, and now we can love each other totally. And again, to, when if it's your first time on your wedding night that you have sex, or maybe you're both virgins, it's like, again, people have been doing this for thousands and thousands of years.
But what a gift to say that. What a gift to say only you.
Right.
This is only for you.
Yeah.
You know.
But again, people always worried about, like, is it going to be awkward? Yeah, it might be awkward. We might do another video about, like, maybe the very practical things. But it's, again, when someone loves you, they're going to be patient with you.
And love is okay laughing.
Yeah, it's okay to laugh. Like, okay, all right, let's figure things out together, because it's the person you're going to be doing this till death do you part. And I had a woman who had been married for about 30 years. She's like, Jackie, tell them, make sure, like, when I talk to young girls, like, make sure you tell them that when you're the longer you've been married, the better it is. Okay. Just because we had this idea that, once you get married, it's all downhill from there and it stinks. But again, if you truly love each other, your love grows deeper, and you learn more about the person, and their heart, their mind, their body, soul. So love just gets better. Sex gets better as you've been married longer and you continue to communicate, and not resort to just looking at techniques and tips from Cosmo magazine.
From all of us at Ascension presents God Bless.